Hello, welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real metaphysical and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life using practical magic. I'm Drake, and today we are going to talk about manifestation a little bit. We are getting ready to come up on the new year. Hopefully, this video will be posted before then. I believe it will. But one of the things that I keep seeing a lot in people's practice, including my own, actually, including my own, is a lack of drive and desire for the actual things they're doing and practicing. A lot of people just kind of get into an autopilot of reading and doing rituals, right? And I'm a perfect example of this. And I have honestly found over the years talking with colleagues and practitioners that one of the things that really, really helps, a lot of people want to say there's a need, like you need to have it for the magic to work. That's not true, and I completely disagree with that. Though I do know why people think that. You need a hunger and a true drive for the thing, right? Think about anything we do in life, whether it's a video game, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a crafting project, whether it's working out at the gym, whether it's hiking, whether it's camping. We can put ourselves through a lot of crap, having fun doing it, and put our focus on something because we actually have a drive to do it and enjoy it, right? It's not just monotonous. At the same time, however, think of those walks or those hikes or playing that video game. If you just sit down and start playing because it's habitual, um, the game does not have the same excitement and reward. You quickly can become very bored of it. Magic and our practices are the same way, okay? And this hit me very, very hard. And I've mentioned this in a live stream earlier that this did hit hard because we had a power outage and I was going through a bunch of my old journals and I found some of my really old ones here. Um, nope, there it is. Hold on. I should have got this before I hit the record button, but that's okay. So I found some really old journals, right? These were some of this one I think was to be my first traveling grimoire I ever put together way back. And then this, what I'm holding here, um, this was actually one of my first compiled research, journal type things. And the reason I used this, and I actually want to start using it again, is because it's just a planner that you can buy inserts for. And that's what I do. And you can even see, like I was doing doodles of the tree of life. Actually, I think that might be the cliff off. So a lot of the stuff that I was doing in here is still in here. But that's not the important part. The thing about these when I found them was there was a difference in my journaling and there was a difference in what I was doing. So a lot of the stuff I was researching at the time wasn't based on what I needed. It wasn't a need in my life. Ironically, many of the needs that I used for research, like financial gains and stuff like that, I'd already reached those before I started doing these research projects. And many of the things that I was pushing for in these path workings were reach out and get it anyway, reach out and get it anyway, just because you want it. But the research was it was fun. It was exciting. I was pushing myself in areas, and there was a hunger to see how far I could go. And it's true, I didn't have needs for those things, but the things I was doing were definitely very, very directly tied to how my life is going. How will it go? How can it improve? What can I do to improve it? And that I think is where I really realized it wasn't a need that was necessary because I mean, for the longest time in my practice, I've always heard that you have to have a need or it won't work. I never bought into that, but I was trying to find a way to, if you would say, prove it. And that particular path working, every entity I worked with in that path working wasn't a dragon. Um, and it allowed me to press forward and push into areas that honestly and truly weren't even of interest to me, but I could still put an entity to work for me. So I'd sit down, find an entity that was part of the path working that honestly, what it specializes in has nothing to do with how I live my life, but I was supposed, and this is actually when I was working with Azazel. So he said, you have to find a way to put this entity to work. And that's what I was doing. And I'd find something that could improve my life and I'd put it to work. But I had a desire, a real need, and a hunger for those results. I was pushing forward to improve my life, right? Now, this is going to get into a topic on another video I'm going to do about actual practical magic to improve your life. Now, you'll notice I say improve my life. Didn't have a need to improve my life, but improve my life. Because when people say need, the need is you're going to have it or you're going to die kind of thing. Um, but I did have that hunger and that drive, and that was a very important thing. Now, skip forward. When I first started working Dragon Mystic, that hunger, that drive was still there, right? I'm really working hard on the Dragon Magic 101 and 102 classes. I'm posting up videos for everyone to find and gain that information and a real focus on practical magic, which I'll be honest, that's where my real passion is in that practical magic. And then as we got forward, kept moving forward, people started asking questions in areas that, well, they're not the more practical magic or aspects or even applications of more advanced magics. And I was answering those to the best of my ability. Meanwhile, in the background, I'm trying to research topics to, continue to help people and continue to expand what we're covering. And I don't know when it happened. I really don't. I haven't been able to nail it down in my journal per se, but there's a point where I lost the hunger. I lost the drive. Even in my private research, actually. My private research got to where I was researching kind of vague concepts in the planes and everything, and it wasn't having any practical application in my life. And it was research that how are you going to measure it, right? And that's a video in and of itself. But I was just going through the motions every day, just going through the motions. And I was noticing this because I'm reading through these journals and this research, and there's an individual who's punching the clock, going to work. He's just doing it to get through the day, punching out and doing whatever. I never wanted to be that individual. I never want to be that individual. And I've been spending a lot of time lately meditating on that. And because of that, we are going back to practical magic, practical everyday magic. Um, we're going to be discussing more about that, more how to do it. Um, but at the same time, it made me realize that the things that manifest best, the things that truly excel in my life, are when I have that hunger for it. And I've also spent some time since that power outage and realizing this and meditating on it, contacting colleagues and friends. And sure enough, once I explain to them what's happening, they agree. That hunger and that drive is actually a very important thing to actually supercharge your manifestations. Now, how do you apply this practically in your life? Okay. First off, if there's something you need, sure, do magic for it. Not going to lie about that one bit. However, do remember that desperation can often get in the way of magic because it makes it hard to release the energy. So make sure you are able to release the energy. You want to try and manifest something before you're desperate. That's a kind of a catch-22 when you think about it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't do magic to try and improve your life. If you want to try and improve your financial standing, do it. If you want to try and improve your health, do it. What do you want to improve? Perhaps you're a gym rat and you're trying to improve your gains at whatever you're doing. Perhaps you run marathons. You want to use magic for that. Doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is you wish to improve in your life, try to improve it. Okay? Um, and keep that hunger for it. Keep that drive. Magic should be fun. It really should. If you find yourself just walking in and doing your rituals every day just because that's what somebody told you to do, and you're not working toward a goal, you're not trying to manifest anything, I would ask, why do you bother doing it? Why are you doing it? Because it should never be boring. It should never feel like you have to do this. It should be something you look forward to. There should be a drive and a hunger there. And if you are practicing, if you are applying yourself, I would say that you need to be able to at least once a week be able to look down at your journal, at your calendar, and know what it is you're working to manifest and how it is you're working to improve yourself. In the Mage Minded series, we talked about always learning something new, always working to better yourself in how we think, how we apply our lives. That needs to be applied to our magic. It really freaking does. What are you doing today that will actually manifest and improve your life, right? And I'm going to go deeper into this, but there's a lot of magicians out there I've talked to, and they are convinced that the reason astral travel, soul travel, and so many of these other practices are so popular is they're the practices of magic that don't manifest provable results as easy, which allows a lot of people to just play make believe. Now, there's been a lot of debate. I've seen some really heated debates over that. But if you think about it, no matter how offended you may be by those statements that they make, that is kind of true. They are the hardest ones to gain verifiable information on. That's one reason people have trouble with scrying and other things. And anyone who's watched my or taken my evocation course when we're talking about developing your scrying, we put in real world verifiable ways to test your scrying with no interpretation required. We remove interpretation from it, and if you see it, you see it. We make it as straightforward as if you're trying to look at a computer. It's either on the screen or it ain't. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the same thing. Anything that we do, if we want to consider it practical magic, we got to find a way to bring it into that realm. Um, and for some things, that's very hard. For astral travel, soul travel, and these things, that gets very difficult, if not damn near impossible. And that's at least the going hypothesis for a lot of mages is that's the reason these realms of magic are so fun because they're using magic as escapism. It's no different than a video game. It's no different than playing make believe. They're not actually trying to improve themselves. And to be fair, I know a lot of people that I can point to that these magicians are talking about, and in 20 years of practice, they haven't improved one thing in their life, which is truly sad to me. Um, But that's not to say those things can't be made practical, right? Look at what we're doing at our online locals community right now. For supporters, we have the Sordor Community Project going right now for the our local supporters. Um, to where they have a public astral sanctum to actually start testing. We have things set up in very specific ways. People can go, they can interact with it, they can test, and then they can come to me and ask. We can discuss it. They can verify what they're seeing, what they're finding, what they're hearing, all those things. And we're actually working to expand that further in the coming year. And actually, right now through December, for all locals members, not just the paid supporters, but all locals members have been able to access and utilize that sanctum, which I think that closes at the end of the year. But so there are ways that we can set these up to get practical results in testing for development. But even then, I would ask if you're developing your astral, if you're developing your arcane senses, why? To what purpose are you applying them in your day-to-day life? And that is a big one. Many of you know I'm not a religious person. I'm not even a spiritual person, really. Some people consider me both, but I don't consider me either. I don't follow a religion. In fact, I honestly can quote its faults better than I can I see its benefit to some, but I also know its faults greatly. Same thing with spiritualism. If you're spiritualist and you say that's why I'm spiritualist, not religion, I've seen spirituality do the exact same thing. Sorry. But what I focus on is actually reality. What is actually happened? What is actually functional? What can I actually do with it? You know, it's and that's one of the things that when I lost track of that, I looked in probably the last year and a half. What have I done magically to truly push me into a new direction, to push me in my life to improve it? And honestly and truly, not a whole hell of a lot. And it's kind of depressing. I've worked very hard to develop my abilities in my practice, and I find myself not really doing a lot with it. That's not to say I don't use it, because many people in the community, the admin team, whatever, they know that I have been more than happy to use spell working to aid them and help them. And again, the paid supporters at the local community, they get monthly spell working. I do that for them. Great. I love helping my community. And by community, I don't just mean working Dragon Mystic. I mean my community I even live in. But what am I doing to better me? And I've been spending a lot of time meditating and on that and what I want, and where I want to pursue. And I've got a few things, and I'm getting ready to put that together, and get that jump started for the new year. And who knows, I may actually talk about that a little when we talk about the New Year's challenge coming up. Because we will be doing a 6 month challenge this year, and I'm going to let you all know how that's going to work as well. So, yeah, find that hunger in you. Find it, find it, find it. Set real world goals, okay? Set something that you can measure, whether it's your bank account, whether it's your weight, whether whatever it is, but set real world goals, things that you can manifest and change to better yourself. Maybe upgrade your apartment if that's what you want. Work on raises, work on a better job. There's so many infinite things based on what the person's who you are and what you're doing. I know a person who's used Magic to improve their video game skills to get a job in the video game industry. I'd have never thought of that, but I don't like video games enough to want to make work of it. Um, so we're all going to have a different viewpoint to some extent on what we want to pursue. And there's plenty of things in the world that I won't think about just because I have no interest in them. Poetry. I'm not a huge fan of poetry by and large, but I know a lot of people who's used magic to not only improve their writing skills, but their skill set in poetry, and they've actually managed to publish and actually build a pretty strong career out of it. That's amazing. I think that's great. Um, so think about that. Sit down, and I would really encourage you as we come closer to the new year when you see this, sit down and meditate. What is it in your life, your real world life, not anything astral, not anything in the planes, what in your real world life right now, in the really real world, do you want to improve? Okay? Ask yourself, what do you want to improve? And the reason I'm saying it that way is we all know needs are good to meet. Those are fine and dandy. Those are easy to think of. Start thinking about what you want to improve, okay? And start thinking about practical ways to improve it and practical ways to apply your magic. Because as we get into the new year, we are going back to practical magic, and we're going to be talking more and more about that, as well as the Mage Minded series. So go ahead and get a jump start on that and get yourself hungry for some real manifested change in your life. Because I truly think if you can find that hunger and that drive, I truly believe manifestation happens extremely better, faster, stronger, if that makes sense. All right, everybody, you have a fantastic new year, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.